Hello guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Paul. Today I'll be talking about custom tooltip. So you might ask yourself, what are tooltips? And this is it. So you might have your users use their desktop computers to access your web, and they're likely to hover on things so they can get a little bit infos or information about what if they click the button. So that's the effect we're going to talk about here, and here is what we are going to do also. Now we're going to do this nice animation and the triangular shape, and we're going to fix everything and try to make it responsive to our app. So let's just get to it. In our Visual Studio Code, so I believe you've installed FLUTTER and you've enabled FLUTTER for web, which come by default in FLUTTER 2. So I hope you have done that, and if you have done that, let's begin. So here we are going to import the FLUTTER material .dat, and we're going to give our entry point, which is the main, and we are going to call on the run app to run our app from the root, and it will return the material app with the theme I set to light blue, and also I removed the debug banner, and also we have this home and the home class here. The home page extends a stateless widget that returns the scaffold, and we have these buttons over here. So currently now you're going to see nothing is happening, so we're going to do that over on each of the buttons. As soon as we take our cursor closer to it, it comes up with that nice animation. So let's get to it. Now we're going to wrap our buttons here with a widget called custom tooltip. So I'm going to take this and wrap all of it on each of the widgets. Okay, so I'm going to wrap. So this video is actually going to be longer because I'm going to do everything from scratch. You can actually forward it a bit, so you can, if you don't want to spend much time, but if you want to know everything how I did it, you can just continue watching. Okay, so as we have created that, we are going to create that class. I'm going to make that class. I'm going to call it class custom, just what is there, tooltip, and we're going to extend stateless widget. So it's going to say we are missing concrete implementation of the build. I'm going to override that, and here we are, and I'm going to return inkwell widget. So this widget is what we're going to use for we're going to use this inkwell for our over effects to get the value if our cursor is on hover or not. So, and I'm going to call on the child, and I'm going to give a new child and create it. So it's going to be a final, and it's going to be a widget, and I'm going to create a constructor for that, so all the errors are gone. Now I'm going to create one more properties here, which is the message, which actually goes on the tooltip, and I'm going to add that also to our constructor, and I'm going to make that required. It's going to be required, and we're going to add that, and that will be message. I'm going to call that message 2. Okay, I'm going to call this to message. Okay, cool, that's cool. So let's save that. And for us to make things really clean, I'd like us to take this particular custom tooltip to a different folder, a different file. So I'm going to create a new file in our lib folder, call it custom tooltip. So that way our folder will be a bit clean, and I'm going to paste that here and import material .dat. So everything is nice and clean. I'm going to import the tooltip over in this class so we can access it. I'm going to save both files. Okay, now we can actually work on everything. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to convert the custom tooltip extension, which is the stateless widget. I'm going to extend it to a stateful widget so we can have a state that we can change. Okay, so that's cool. And first we're going to define a global key. We're going to define a global key. First, we're going to call it global key. I'm going to call it key. Okay, that's cool. So we're going to have an init state that initialize that key. To use label, we're going to use label global key here, and we're going to pass a message as a key property there, and we're going to assign that to our inkwell here, give that key. So that's cool. So now first we are going to get the position of our inkwell. So we're going to get the position of each button there, then we are going to get them into we're going to get the positions and the width and height, then we use them on our inkwell and the child that we're going to pass, so which is going to cool. So we're going to use the label global key here, and we're going to pass in the message parameter, and also now we're going to assign the key into our inkwell. Now this key is what we're going to use to get the inkwell details. We're going to get the inkwell widget details, like the position it is, and we're going to get the height it has, and just like this we're going to know where they are so we can be able to display our tooltip very well. So that's cool. So secondly, what we're going to do, we are going to get this properties and the details of our inkwell widgets. So first detail, we're going to know the offset of it, so I'm going to call that offset. Second, we're going to know the size. I'm going to call that size. Okay, that's cool. So now we're going to create a method, and it's going to be a void method that says get widget details. Okay, So first we're going to give this final, call it render box, and we're going to call on the key and get the current context of it, and we'll get the render box. We'll find the render object of it and we'll cast it as a render box, and which is cool. And also we are going to use the render box property here to fill in the offset and everything. So first we're going to fill in the size. So the size here, we'll get the size and the width of it, render box width. I'm going to get the size. Okay, I think we can just call that in and it will work. I think that can work very fast. And what else we're going to call? We're going to call on the offset of it, and that will be render box. Going to look for local to global. So going to look for this, and also we're going to pass offset dot 0. So this is going to be our new variable, and we'll call this offset, and that we can use it to pass on the offsets we have up there, and we can pass that and save. Okay, cool. So that's really cool. That's cool. Now we can give in our on hover, and the v is actually the value, and we're going to check if v is true. We're going to do something there else. We're going to do something here. So first I'm going to try to access the properties we have tried to get, and I'll access that of the offset, the dx of it. I'm going to print that to see if anything is working. So I'm going to get this, and so I'm going to run this and try to over on any of these. We're going to check our terminal. I'm going to try that again. So we're going to save this file and save this too, and we're going to try that again. Clear that, and okay, what's happening? Let me hot restart this. Okay, first to be able to bypass the first equal, we're going to call on the on tap function of it, and we'll try to, so I think that should work. Okay, cool. That's our dx, the horizontal part of this. So here is the dx. So that's cool. We just got the value. So what next do we do now? So we're going to call this in here. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I hope you guys are seeing very clear. I'm going to zoom a bit in. Okay, cool. Okay, so what next we're going to do, we are going to build an overlay of the widgets that we want to show here, which is the tooltip. So we're going to build that overlay, and we're going to call it overlay entry, and we're going to call that make overlay, and that's going to be a function, a method, and it's going to return overlay entry, and we're going to call on the builder, and which has a context we have to pass in, and also we're going to pass in this and be passing our positioned widget, and which is cool. And I'm going to pass in a container. Okay, I'm going to format that. Okay, yeah, so, and what we're going to do next is going to create a new overlay object up here. I'm going to call it overlay entry, and overlay entry, call it overlay, and we're going to create that here. Going to create that here, overlay entry, and we're going to create that make. I'm going to pass that make overlay, and we're going to try to access that. We're going to access that, try to access that overlay of context, and we're going to insert that, let me see, into the stack, and we're going to pass in the overlay entry. And if this is override, that's what we're going to do. But when this is, our cursor is moved out from the button, we are going to remove it. I'm going to remove that. So I'm going to format that, and which is cool. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start creating the widget for the going to create the widget for the tooltip. So it's going to go down here, so now we're going to give way. I'm going to add this to the height, should be, well, I shouldn't give it any height. Let me try to give it a width of 100, and the position, the top should be offset dot I'm going to access that through my getter, and it's going to be dy, and I'm going to add more. I'm going to add 20 more pixels, and we're going to left, and it's going to be the offset dot do x plus, I'm going to add more of 25, and we're going for the width, and we're going to size dot, going to access the width, and we don't think we should have a given width, but let's try to have that. I think that would help. Let's increase it to 50. Okay, so which is cool. That's we don't have any need for that, so we're going to give this a child, and I'm going to give this a child. Okay, let's make this a material widget, and the color is going to be transparent one, and also we're going to give it a child of container, and okay, we're going to give it a child of container. Okay, this should be a container. I think this should be in a column, so, and this would be our text, and we should access the message, and our style is going to be color, is going to be white, and we're going to give padding, going to make it a constant, and we're going to access age insert.all with 4 pixel. And what next we're going to do, let's save that, and let's go back here to our main and add some text here. Hello, tap me. Okay, then we're going to give this, I'm here, we're going to give this hello, click me. I'm going to save that. Let's see. Okay, I'm try to restart that. Okay, let's go back there and see what's wrong. Okay, everything is white, so I'm going to make this container black so we can actually see what's going on behind the scene, and I'm going to add it with an alpha of 120 so that it's going to be a bit transparent and cool. So we've gotten our, this is cool. So I'm going to give it more height. We should go to the top, and we're going to add more height of 50. Let's see how it goes. Okay, it's too much. Let's make it 35. Okay, so what we would do next is making this centered. So on the left, I'm going to minus this to 20. Okay, it's centering 25. Okay, this are centered nicely. So we need that little border radius here and the triangular shape. So I'm going to add that and increase the top to 40 so we can have more space for that. And we are going to add the border. Let's add the border. So we'll call the box decoration property, box decoration, and we're going to pass in the border radius circular. We're going to make it 5, and we're going to push in the color, so border radius, before it gives us an error. Just ship that in and save that. So what do we have? Cool. This is good. This is good. Okay, so what next we're going to do is we're going to add that nice little triangle. So I'm going to paste this custom clipper that I've gotten from the internet, and I've tweaked it to what we want here. So I'm going to format this. Okay, bring this a bit down. Okay, cool. So I'm going to add something here, and I'm going to call this custom clip, and I'm going to bring this down to 10 and this down to 10 too. Okay, let's make it 15, and I'm going to center this, and I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to make this color. This color is going to be global color for this class. So that we can access it in both places. We don't have to, and we're going to access it. We're going to access it here too, and I'm going to save that. Let's try it. Cool. This is cool. So yeah. So what's remaining now? Let's add the animation. So we have added this, which works very well. So let's add the animation. So first, what kind of animation do we want? We want a scale in and out animation that scales in and out, scales in and out. So we're going to use a scale transition animation. So I'm going to make this. I'm going to mix this with a mixer, ticker provider, and I'm going to make an animation controller, call it controller, and in our init states I'm going to initialize that animation controller. I'm going to call FaceSync, and which is this class. I'm going to give the duration to be 300 milliseconds, which is I think the standard animations. Millisecond, 300. Cool. And that's it. So when our app is hovered on, we're going to forward that animation. I'm going to forward it and when it's removed, we're going to reverse that. Reverse. Okay, so right here in the position, I'm going to wrap the position with, I'm going to wrap this, I'm going to wrap the column with an animation, which is the scale transition, which will work for us. And what we need, scale transition, and we have the scale property which is required. And I'm going to make it, I'm going to use the twin value and the type of double, and it's going to begin with, so at first it's going to start at 50%, then ends at 90%, so 0.5, and it will end at 0.9. So I'm going to animate that with the parent animation, which is the controller up there. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that and try to run. Cool. This is cool. So we have done that. This is it. So let's try to add a curve to this. Let's think the parent is controller and our curve is, I think we're going to use something, let's try something elastic or something that burns in and out. Okay, I'm going to save that, see what it does. Okay, it doesn't do anything. Okay, cool. So I think that's okay. The bounce in is pretty good and decent. So I hope you understand all of this, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can use this on your project. You can tweak it to whatever you want to use, whatever you want, how you want it. You can do it from just what I showed you. So I'm going to tell you, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you should hit the subscribe button. You can get more updates from me whenever I post more videos by clicking on the bell and turning it on, so you get any notification whenever I post any video. So have a great day.